Despite the case that the SEC has brought against Ripple, Ripple continues to grow. In fact, over 9x year-over-year growth, 900%. In this video, I'm going to tell you why Ripple is growing so much outside of the United States, how much XRP is being used, and what Ripple is doing by buying XRP from the secondary markets. It's really interesting. Literally hundreds of millions of dollars worth of XRP sales being transacted. I'm going to tell you who's doing the selling and why, because a lot of it has to do with the monumental growth that Ripple is seeing outside of the US. Also, there was a couple transactions put out there by Whale Watch in which they said 2 Ethereum whales are buying millions of dollars worth of this altcoin. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what altcoin they are buying, how much of it they're actually buying, and why I'm telling you this. Also, Elon Musk, when he's not busy populating the planet, is involved in some high-level litigation. Well, he's involved in yet not one, but 2 more lawsuits that I'm going to tell you about, and they all involve Twitter. Hey everyone, my name is Randy, and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, we are covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, but I'm also covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the Late Night Grind community, and don't forget to hit that bell notification icon. That way YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. Also, if you do a couple things, I'd appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button, watch the video all the way to the end, and of course, check out my Patreon. There's a link in the description below. If you do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. Okay, we're going to start by talking about some 2 Ethereum whales and what they're buying. According to Whale Watch, that was just posted on Twitter the other day, 2 Ethereum whales are buying $2.5 million worth of Matic. Now, they are not the only one. Now, Matic, the Polygon ecosystem, has been exploding recently. And in fact, if you were a member of my Patreon about a month ago, I put this out there that Polygon is set to have some big growth. I put that notification out there when Matic was about 52 cents. It is now upwards of about 90 cents, and I think there's some more upside to go. And apparently some of the Ethereum whales believe the same thing, as they are now buying millions and millions of Matic. Now, Matic's been on a tear for about the past month. In fact, it's about the 6th biggest cryptocurrency overall in terms of trading volume over the past several weeks. So it's definitely one to watch. And if you aren't signed up for my Patreon, go ahead and check that out. There's a link in the description below. Also, there is some new content coming out this week that you're going to want to keep an eye on. Now, Elon Musk is no stranger to lawsuits, but he's involved in 2 more. Now, obviously, the big one that is going on with Twitter, and if you're not really familiar with this Twitter story, basically, Elon Musk went ahead and tried to buy Twitter. At first, Twitter said, no, we don't want your offer, but then they reconsidered and said, okay, we'll accept your offer. But then Elon Musk said, okay, that's fine, but I want to know how many bots and fake accounts are on Twitter. And Twitter said, no, don't worry about it. And Elon said, fine, then I'm not buying it. And Twitter said, no, you have to. You already made your offer. We're suing you. Well, now Elon Musk is now countersuing Twitter. Just yesterday, he launched his counter lawsuit against Twitter, but nobody knows what it says because he filed it under seal. However, the judge did say that he will have to refile it publicly, although with obvious redactions and sensitive information being redacted out of it, so you won't get to see that. But nonetheless, that information has to become public. Now, they did that on the face of the judge saying that in October is when there's going to be a 5-day trial. Elon Musk's team wanted a 2-week trial. It's only going to be 5 days. That's all the judge gave him. But not only that, he's involved in yet another lawsuit because somebody else is filing suit against him. In fact, a Twitter shareholder who holds about 5,500 shares of Twitter is suing Elon Musk for all the damages that he caused with all this back and forth nonsense and with these lawsuits that has essentially caused the Twitter price to tumble. So I don't know if that one will go anywhere. That's more or less just to put pressure on Elon Musk to finish the deal and buy Twitter. In fact, that's exactly why Twitter is suing him. So it's going to be really interesting to see why Elon Musk is launching his countersuit. My thought is that it's going to have something to do with all the bot accounts, all the fake accounts, and all the hidden agenda stuff that Twitter hasn't turned over to him in his essentially due diligence. So my guess is that he has a case and that this might force Twitter to actually turn over some of those documents. Now, if you've been following this channel, we cover a lot of these types of things with the Ripple versus the SEC case. There's a lot of stuff that the SEC does not want uncovered, and they are fighting tooth and nail to not uncover. Hopefully, in this Twitter deal, Twitter's not the one that continues to hide information about what they don't want uncovered, about how many fake accounts they have, how many bot accounts they have, what some of their how some of their algorithms work, and things like that. But my guess is that's exactly what these lawsuit cases are about. So at the very least, it looks like we're going to be heading into October before any of this might get sorted out. All right, so now let's talk about Ripple exploding. Over 900% growth year over year, and their use of its on-demand liquidity system is also exploding. Well, everywhere in the world except for in the United States, because of course the SEC says they're just selling illegal securities, even though they allow Ripple to sell some of those illegal securities to pay for their own defense against the SEC. You get the idea. So Ripple just put out some of its quarterly numbers, and they are massive. They put out their Q2 of this year, quarter number 2 of 2022, and it's a 9x year-over-year growth for their on-demand liquidity system. And they said not only are there more partners joining RippleNet, their on-demand liquidity system, every week, it seems like, and they're using it in transacting cross borders and of course for remittances. However, they did say there's some big segments of growth that they hadn't really looked at before. Number one, treasury flows are starting to increase, and number two, bulk payments are also starting to increase. So beyond just the one-to-one exchange and the cross-border exchange, those are starting to pick up as well. So this is essentially what has caused Ripple to have massive amounts of XRP sales in quarter number 2. In fact, they said because of the on-demand liquidity system, their partners had purchased over $2.1 billion worth of XRP in order to, of course, transact. Ripple also bought an additional $1.7 billion worth of XRP from the secondary markets in order to allow their customers to use it in the on-demand liquidity system or buy from them. And Ripple followed that up by saying that they're going to continue to buy XRP from the secondary markets because the use of on-demand liquidity system is showing no signs of slowing down. A 9x year over year is monumental, and in my opinion, it's going to continue to grow. Now, can you imagine the growth of the on-demand liquidity system? Once XRP gets its regulatory clarity here in the United States, Ripple wins that case, XRP gets its clarity, United States institutions and banks are going to begin using that on-demand liquidity system. Right now, they're just not allowed to talk about it, and it's a real shame. But if you think 9x is big, wait until XRP gets its United States clarity, and in the year after that, you're probably looking at about a 30x year-over-year usage. And then you're talking about all of the XRP being purchased from the secondary markets so the people on the on-demand liquidity system can use them. That is what is going to drive demand up, the price up, the value up, and of course shrink the availability of XRP on the secondary markets. You know what that does to the price of Bitcoin? Scarcity usually means price goes up. Same thing's going to happen with XRP. Now, if you haven't checked out my last video, I talked about how there was some history made in Ripple, so if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and watch that video. It has to do with a really unique use case of the land registry that is now on the XRP ledger. It's a really interesting project. Also, I put up a video the other day talking about China and what its banks are now going through and the mortgage crisis that seems to be spreading through China. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead. I'll link that video up here. It's one of the more interesting stories that is now spreading. It is not talked about in China because they're trying to limit that media, but it is being talked about on places like YouTube. So if you want to see what that mortgage crisis in China is actually doing and how many trillions of dollars worth of debt are uncollateralized, well, it's a really interesting story you might want to follow. Also, if you are new to this channel, I would really appreciate it if you go up to the community tab. I put up polls up there on a weekly, sometimes a daily basis, because I love to know what you guys think about all these topics, all these stories that I cover, all the stories that I cover on the channel, as well as on some of the broader markets as a whole. And like I mentioned, once again, I will be putting out more content on my Patreon in this coming week. Actually, 2 more picks that I've been scouting at. Like I said, my first one from last month, Polygon Matic, has almost nearly doubled since I put that out on Patreon. So if that interests you at all, of course, there's a link always in the description below, as well as my Twitter feed. You can go and follow me there. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.